Greetings and thanks for joining us once again. My name is Carlos Salinas, and I'm the Regional Director for the U.S. Soybean Export Council in the Americas. A pleasure to be here with you again. This presentation is designed for USEC's key customers and for USEC's internal purposes. I hope not to take more than 10 minutes of your time, and I look forward to your continued feedback so we can improve. Before we get started, and as we always do, we'd like to recognize USEC's membership. Within that membership, we have soybean processors, soybean exporters, seed companies, equipment manufacturers, railroads, surveyors, brokers, and different stakeholders and funding sources, which are of great importance to USEC. And we cannot omit the support and the contribution that we receive from the U.S. soybean farmer. Without that support, the presentation would not be possible. Let's go ahead and get started. And all I can say is what a week. I don't think I have seen this type of volatility in a very long time. And I think it magnifies the importance of good, sound risk management for all organizations, that is, and producers as well. We're going to talk briefly about prices, more from an informative nature, just to give you a visual of what the changes have been. We'll talk about weather and crop conditions. We're also going to touch on crush margins, and we'll end with a small recap on the U.S. soybean supply and demand. So let's go ahead and get started. The chart I'm showing you are November soybeans and the Chicago Mercantile Exchange. And you can basically see in the red circle what the volatility has been and what the rally has been since the end of May or beginning of June, with soybeans heading below 11.50 a bushel and almost going to 13.50 a bushel, 13.40 a bushel. When I took the picture very close to the close on Friday, I don't know if I got the settlement. So quite a bit of volatility. Soybean meal, obviously, as the one of the key products of soybeans, reacted naturally for the similar factors. We have over here December soybean meal exceeding $400 a short ton at the close on Friday, and I'm taking the liberty to share the corn rally with you because corn is also coming along the right, and we've seen corn in May, December corn at least getting close to $5 a bushel, and now we're very close to $6 a bushel. So again, all the commodities that we're producing seem to be getting impacted. So let's talk a little what we have seen on weather and crop conditions. Obviously, sometimes the picture of what we have seen is less important than the picture that on what will happen. We don't have the future, but I would strongly encourage you to take a look at those weather maps based on what I'm going to share with you. So this week, the USDA shared with us the areas that are experiencing moderate to more intense drought. Those areas for soybeans are at 51%, a significant, I would say, uptick of 12%. Compared to the previous week, which was at 39%. And if you take a look at corn, again, corn also has gone from 45% to 57%. So both commodities are certainly being impacted by the drought conditions. When you take a look at the evolution of soybeans, I just want to highlight this light, I don't know if it's yellow or orange line. We've gone from 19 to 20% in May. Of areas experiencing moderate to more intense drought to 51%, which is, I think, quite significant and certainly very different to last year. When you take a look at the areas with severe or more intense drought, which is something that I would pay very close attention to, that number has also gone from 10 to 16%. So certainly concerning as we continue to evolve on the crop. I think this map put together by the USDA gives a very good overview of the drought area in combination with the major crop area and minor crop areas. And you can see where the impact is. You can see where the soybeans are grown and what are some of the consequences. Obviously, it is hitting some of our key growing states. Reason for concern. When we talk about the crop conditions, We are going to be reporting crop conditions again next week. I highly encourage you to take a look at those crop conditions because the market is likely already anticipating a drop given what the reaction on prices have been. But today, or based at least on last Monday's report, good to excellent conditions for soybean were at 59%. Let's say compared to the last 20 years, we were on the lower end of the range. And I believe what's important to monitor is that what happens with those crop conditions going forward. Some people say it is premature to judge soybeans at this stage. Soybeans are really made more towards the end of the crop year, call it late July or August. But I think it's important to continue to monitor this because crop conditions generally, on average, tend to decline. They don't tend to improve much throughout the year. But we have to keep our close eyes on this report. I'm sharing with you the corn crop conditions. I thought it important as well because corn is going through something very similar again with deteriorating crop conditions going forward. And we'll see what the maps or what the results are next week when they publish the new crop conditions. So it should be interesting to monitor. Changing subjects a bit, I want to touch on crush margins. Certainly nearby crush margins have, I would say, struggled, particularly cash crush margins. But as we take a look at the forward curve, if we take a look at new crop, particularly when you look at the relationship between November soybeans, December soybean oil, and December soybean meal, and we look at this number in relationship to the past 20 years, and the past 20 years high and low are on this gray range. And what we're seeing this crop year is actually this orange line. And we can see that on that board crush margin, we are actually at historical highs, $1.81 a bushel from a seasonal perspective. At June, we have never been this high, close to $67 a metric ton. Many may argue that board crush margins have little relationship with cash crush margins, what's actually happening in the different crushing plants. I would say, while there's no perfect relationship, I think this gives us somewhat of a guidance of that evolution, how things are looking. So as we look forward at crush margins, while nearby crush margins might have struggled a little bit, I think the deferred crush margins look very good. And I think for our buyers around the world, I want them to be aware that the industry has the incentive to continue crushing and providing domestic suppliers and providing export buyers with the needed soybean meal going forward. When we take a look at supply demand, I wanted to share with you the perspective that we have from our good friends at Oil World. Oil World, as a recognized company that focuses on supply demand for oils, fats, oilseeds, and derivatives. I think they do an excellent job. And this is what they have shared with us, the U.S. soybean supply demand, or the latest update. And I want to use it as reference because I think today, while they have outlined a crop of 121.5 million metric tons, a relatively good-sized crop compared to, let's say, recent history, particularly compared to last year, I think with the very recent crop conditions, this number is likely to change. And I think that's where the risk for the S&D lies today. What that actually crop number may look like 3 months or 5 months down the road. So we have to keep our eyes open for this. We do have an expansion in the crush industry. We're expanding crush by about 2 million metric tons, according to the Oil World forecast, which implies that we're going to have certainly more oil to supply domestically, but we will also have more meal to supply domestically and to the export markets, which are a key component of our business. And the risk will always be the ending stocks, the combination of all these numbers. If we do begin to drop the crop production, how deep of a cut are we going to have on our ending stocks? And that's going to be what the market will closely monitor. Oil World is just came out, I believe, with their Oil World Annual, which is a great book that gives you a perspective not only of the recent year, but over history. I strongly encourage you to seek out that information. Call them. They have very objective information of world trade, not just the U.S. but all over the world, and on oils and fats and proteins as well. So I hope the information I share here with you was valuable. I think this volatility magnifies the importance of having solid risk management, of getting the advice that you need. Certainly reach out to us if we can be of any help, or if not, reach out to our membership that can actually probably do a very good job helping you in your risk management and supplying your needs. I look forward to speaking to you in a couple of weeks. Take care. Have a great week.